The story begins at Furin High School on the first day of the new academic year. During homeroom, the teacher awkwardly announces a major change. The former Furin Boys School and Furin Girls School have merged into a single co-educational institution. He admits that the transition may be uncomfortable and clumsy, but expresses hope that the students will adapt and learn to coexist harmoniously. His hesitant delivery is abruptly interrupted when a boy named Arisu scoffs, stands up, and openly mocks the teacher for stumbling over his speech. He bluntly points out the awkward pauses and demands that the announcement be redone properly, shocking both the teacher and the class. Regaining his composure, the teacher tells Arisu to introduce himself first. Arisu eagerly accepts the spotlight and delivers an outrageous self-introduction. He proudly proclaims himself the heir to the immensely powerful Yamabuki group, declaring that he is destined to lead Japan into the future. With extreme confidence bordering on arrogance, he claims he is already 99% perfect, lacking only one thing to reach absolute perfection. He needs all the girls in the class to tell him that they love him. His speech alienates nearly everyone, especially his male classmates. Later, several boys confront Arisu and accuse him of scaring off all the girls with his behavior. Arisu remains unfazed, calmly responding that adversity is necessary to build character. Soon after, a girl approaches him directly and admits that she knows about the Yamabuki group's wealth and wants to become his girlfriend because of it. Arisu stands, asks her to whisper something into his ear, listens briefly, and then casually dismisses her, claiming he needs to use the restroom. After he leaves, the boys explain Arisu's true motivation to the girls. Ever since his second year of middle school, he has been searching for a specific girl whose face he has never seen, trying to find her solely through her voice. Arisu spends his break wandering from classroom to classroom, hoping to finally encounter the girl he seeks, but he fails once again. This triggers memories of his bleak past when his only reason for living was a late-night radio show hosted by a mysterious girl who calls herself Apollo. Every night, he listens to her program, Midnight Heart Tune, imagining a romantic future with her. In the present, a girl suddenly sneaks up behind him and whispers, "I love" to his ear, causing an intense physical reaction. When he demands to know who she is, she teasingly points out that break time is almost over and that he never actually went to the restroom, then leaves him confused and shaken. In the cafeteria, Arisu cannot stop thinking about the girl whose voice resembles Apollo's. He tries to rationalize that he cannot be sure, as she caught him off guard. Suddenly, a voice comes over the school intercom, and the instant Arisu hears it, he is convinced it belongs to Apollo. He sprints toward the broadcasting room as memories flood back. He recalls how he was once Apollo's only listener, how they spoke regularly through her show, and how close they became despite never meeting. Apollo often talked about wanting to attend an all-girls school. After she abruptly vanished from the internet, Arisu analyzed every detail of their conversations, deduced that she was his age, and realized she wanted to attend an all-girls school near the ocean. This reasoning led him to conclude that Kurin was the only possible match, prompting him to enroll there to find her. Standing outside the broadcasting room, Arisu is certain Apollo is waiting inside. Instead, he finds four girls who all aim to build careers with their voices: Shinobu, voices an aspiring announcer; Iko, a VTuber; Nin, who dreams of becoming a voice actress; and Rika, a hopeful singer. He is immediately scalded for barging in. Shinobu mentions his infamous classroom speech, and Nin angrily accuses him of being a creep. Arisu insists he is not motivated by lust, and is only searching for someone important, but his words are repeatedly misunderstood. When he mentions Apollo, the girls have no idea who he means, making Arisu suspect she is hiding her identity. The girls bar him from returning, forcing Arisu to bargain his way in by offering expensive broadcasting equipment. Unable to refuse, they lean in and whisper, "I love you," a gesture that overwhelms him and painfully revives his memories of Apollo, driving him to flee the room in panic. The next day, Arisu begins carefully observing the broadcasting club members and recording detailed notes. He enters the club room early and finds only Shinobu, who explains that she arrives early to practice because she often makes mistakes on air. As she prepares for the morning broadcast, Shinobu silences him. Although she is admired school-wide, serves as vice president of the student council, and seems perfect on paper, she suddenly stumbles over her words during the broadcast. Frustrated, Arisu scolds her without realizing the microphone is live, broadcasting his criticism to the entire school. Later, Arisu observes Nin surrounded by classmates discussing a manga titled Lily. When she confirms she owns the latest volume, he recalls that Apollo loved the same series. He notes Nin's love of cosplay and popularity. As she performs a voice acting scene from the manga, he is briefly captivated until she completely botches her lines, making him question her ability. When Nin notices him staring, she accuses him of being a creep, forcing him to flee an angry crowd. At last, Arisu realizes the core problem: he has only ever heard her voice through a phone, which distorts it. This explains why identifying her has been so difficult. Suddenly, Ikko startles him, causing him to fall down the stairs. He recalls that she handles the club's technical side and has a massive otaku following. She casually begins a 5-second stream, irritating him. Arisu criticizes her lack of seriousness, but Ikko shrugs it off, saying her fans do not care. Concluding that none of the clubbers share Apollo's true dedication, Arisu leaves, reaffirming his belief that Apollo alone is genuinely committed to her dream. Later that day, Shinobu performs poorly on air again. Without thinking, Arisu hijacks the microphone and declares that he will force the club to improve. The girls immediately throw him out. Moments later, Arisu receives a notification that steals the air from his lungs as, for the first time in years, Apollo goes love, revealing that when she once confesses her love, those words are meant for him and him alone. Arisu cannot understand why Apollo would be inside yet refuse to reveal herself to him. For a reckless second, he considers charging back in and demanding to know which of the 4 girls is the legendary Singer he admires, but he stops himself. If Apollo wishes to remain hidden, he will not behave like a desperate stalker. Instead, he makes a dramatic vow one day he will uncover the truth, and until that shining moment arrives, he will work like a madman to help every one of the 4 girls reach their dreams. True to that promise, he transforms overnight into an absurdly enthusiastic boot camp commander. At dawn, he drags the girls outside for physical training, preaching that a strong body creates a strong voice. The girls are horrified, especially Ikko, whose idea of exercise is lifting a spoon of ice cream. Arisu jogs backward like a showy action hero and still outruns them all, declaring the exhausting session a mere warm-up. Nin snaps that they have known him for only a day and nobody made him their coach. Arisu responds with outrageous confidence, claiming perfection flows in his blood and therefore he is naturally qualified. Shinobu tries to calm the tension, admitting that although he is irritating, at least he is genuinely trying to help. Rika argues that each girl has a completely different dream and wonders how one arrogant boy can guide such separate paths. Arisu boldly insists there is nothing in the world he cannot master, though he decides breakfast matters more than winning the argument. After showers, they meet at a restaurant, where Arisu hands out personalized notebook stuff with plans. Ikko receives a strategy for joining a VTuber agency, Shinobu gets a program to improve her encoring skills, and Nin is buried under an intimidating mountain of kanji books for the level 3 exam. Rika's assignment is the most terrifying: write her own songs, perform on the streets, and sell 50 CDs to build confidence. She is furious and asks whether he has ever even touched an instrument. Arisu proudly admits he has not, he has only whistled occasionally. Rika explodes, saying an ignorant amateur has no right to lecture her about music. Arisu ignores the rage and preaches about chasing dreams instead of hiding in comfort. When she asks if he ever gets nervous, he boasts that fear that does not exist in the Yamabuki family dictionary. Rika calls him a liar and storms off, leaving him confused. Nin explains that Rika is truly talented and that having a clueless boy judge her hurts her pride. Arisu realizes he has wounded her deeply. Determined to prove he can understand music, he decides to attend her weekly school mini-concert, even though she usually avoids singing her own songs. At the concert, Rick confesses she feels nervous every time, words hauntingly similar to Apollo's. She sings and her gentle voice matches Apollo so perfectly that Arisu forgets to breathe. Afterward, he apologizes for the morning chaos and praises her talent, again encouraging street performances and CD sales. Rika coldly tells him to stay out of her personal life and disappears. The next day, Arisu avoids the club altogether, and guilt begins to nibble at Rika. While wandering through school, she hears students shouting outside. To her shock, she finds Arisu clumsily playing guitar in public. His fingers are battered and raw, proof he practiced all night. She steps beside him to calm the crowd, and they play together. His performance is painfully terrible, exactly what one would expect after a single night, yet his courage impresses her. Later, she compliments his insane confidence, saying he truly might never feel nervous. Arisu repeats his family legend, so Rika suddenly hugs him to test it. The fearless hero immediately panics, exposing his bluff. Meanwhile, Nin has grown strangely busy. Arisu pesters her about kanji practice, but she keeps running away with weak excuses. Shinobu notices that whenever Nin lies, her ears turn red, meaning she is not annoyed, just bad at asking for help. Arisu follows her to a classroom and discovers her secretly practicing voice acting. Her tone is cute like a kitten, yet her delivery is emotionless. Arisu criticizes her and earns a book thrown at his face. He learns she is rehearsing for an adaptation of a hugely popular manga about a princess secretly in love with a knight. Unable to confess because of her status, the princess can only steal a hidden kiss from the knight's helmet after he dies. Nin finds the story deeply moving. Arisu leans too close and startles her. To make her relax, he begins confessing humiliating memories, wetting the bed on a school trip, doing the same at the dentist, unloading shame after shame until Nin wonders if he has lost his mind. He explains that since he has sacrificed his dignity, maybe she will feel safer sharing her weaknesses. Nin finally admits the truth: she cannot act the role because she has never been in love. Without real feeling, she sounds fake. Arisu dramatically drops to one knee and proposes a ridiculous solution for 3 weeks until the audition. She should become his girlfriend. They will live like the manga couple so she can experience genuine emotions. Nin thinks he is insane but reluctantly agrees for the sake of her dream. From that day, the pair performs romance across the school, sending students into a gossip frenzy. They hold hands, reenact scenes, stroll like lovers, and Arisu even carries her in his arms, turning daily life into a live-action version of the manga. Nin realizes with terror that the final chapter ends with a kiss, meaning she may have to kiss this lunatic. Days pass filled with cheesy dialogues and stage dates until the final day arrives. Nin prepares herself like a soldier heading to battle, even applying lipstick. Yet when the moment comes, Arisu refuses. He says they have practiced enough, and that such a moment should be saved for someone she truly loves, not wasted on an experiment. Nin cannot decide whether to be angry or touched and storms off to the audition. She returns with bad news: she was rejected. Arisu collapses in despair, convinced his flawless plan failed. Nin explains it was not their fault. The author had already chosen favorites and the audition was only for show. Arisu lies on the ground like a fallen knight, eerily resembling the manga's tragic ending. Moved by the scene, Nin reenacts the final chapter herself. She bends down and secretly kisses the book cover instead of him, just as the princess kissed the helmet. Arisu notices and grabs her, teasing that she must have fallen in love. Nin turns bright red and slams him to the floor, shouting that she hates him more than anything. The other girls wisely keep their distance. Arisu whines that he had no idea she despised him so much, but Shinobu reminds him of one important fact: whenever Nin lies, her ears glow red. And right on cue, her ears are turned crimson, silently proving that her furious declaration was the biggest lie of all. Inside the broadcasting club room, Shinobu, Nin, Rika, and Iko are casually changing clothes when the door suddenly swings open, and Arisu walks straight in. He freezes for a moment, then, instead of panicking, launches into a stern lecture. With a completely serious expression, he scolds them for their carelessness, reminding them that they are high school students and should act responsibly. He emphasizes that they should have locked the door and warns that if someone else had walked in, the consequences could have been serious. Rika bristles and questions why he is lecturing them so much, but Eko quickly tells her not to interrupt, knowing Arisu will only keep talking. Shinobu feels genuinely guilty and apologizes, while Nin points out that Arisu is also at fault for entering without knocking. Arisu responds that the broadcasting room is not a private space and that he is a club member, but he still apologizes, admitting he should have knocked and that seeing them like that means he owes them one. The girls are stunned, as none of them ever imagined Arisu apologizing to anyone. Later, during the end-of-day announcements, Shinobu freezes again and admits her mistake, forcing Rika to step in and handle it smoothly. After classes end, Rika suggests going out for something sweet to celebrate, but Arisu shoots down the idea, saying he has personal business to handle, and telling the girls to go on without him. Rika unexpectedly says she would like him to come along, prompting Arisu to tease that he might consider it if she begged properly. As expected, he still leaves, walking off while Rika loudly declares she is getting ice cream no matter what. Just as the girls are about to leave, Nin suddenly insists they should follow Arisu. She argues that since he walked in on them changing earlier, it would be humiliating if he ever mentioned it, even accidentally. She proposes tailing him to catch him in an embarrassing situation, possibly even taking photos if he changes clothes in public. Rika tries to dismiss the idea as an overreaction, but Nin refuses to drop it. Iko finds the idea hilarious and immediately agrees, while Rika gives in out of curiosity about what the seemingly perfect Arisu does in private. Shinobu reluctantly joins since everyone else is already on board. They follow in awkwardly, whispering and imagining what they might uncover. On the train, Nin believes she has finally found something when she spots Arisu reading what looks like an adult magazine. She zooms in with her camera, only to realize it is a book about teaching children. Frustrated, she starts wondering whether Arisu ever makes mistakes at all. The girls continue tailing him until he enters a cafe, forcing them to dive under a table to hide. From there, they are shocked to see Arisu wearing a waiter's uniform. This completely contradicts his image as the heir to a wealthy family, and they assume he lied to impress others. Listening in, they hear Arisu tell the cafe owner he needs extra shifts because he needs money. When the owner asks why someone rich would work part-time, Arisu explains that his father is wealthy, not him, and that he refuses to rely on his family's money, choosing instead to earn what he needs himself. When asked why he needs so much money, Arisu pleads that to buy new audio equipment for the broadcasting room, which will cost nearly 1 million yen. The girls are stunned, having assumed he would use his family's wealth to support the club. The owner questions whether spending that much on a school club is excessive, and Arisu admits it probably is, comparing it to throwing money into a fire. However, he explains that he believes the 4 girls have real talent, even if they are not serious yet, and that he refuses to give up on them until they achieve their goals, no matter how much lecturing or money it takes. Overwhelmed, the girls reveal themselves, startling Arisu. Nin immediately teases him about how cute he looks in an apron and takes photos, breaking the tension. The next day, Arisu sits alone in the broadcasting room, worried the girls now know about his forbidden part-time job, which violates school rules and could get him expelled. Iko suddenly enters, and when Arisu bluntly asks if she has come to blackmail him, she denies it. Instead, she shares her own secret. She has been a VTuber for a long time but feels completely stuck, with her subscriber count no longer increasing. Arisu admits he noticed and explains that her viewers seem bored, partly because her streams are often extremely short. Iko defends herself by listing her activities: karaoke, gaming, kun drawing, and reveals that she designed her own avatar. Arisu shows her clips from her streams, pointing out that no matter what she does, her voice always sounds lifeless, making her avatar feel like nothing more than a talking picture. He suggests new models or even 3D, but Iko says she cannot afford it. Arisu tells her to leave the technical work to him and redraw her character with more expressions, warning that technology alone will not help unless she shows genuine emotion. They work together for days until the new model is complete. When Arisu asks her to smile, Iko insists she cannot express emotions well. Arisu locks the door and tickles her until she finally bursts into real laughter after they collapse to the floor. He tells her that is the smile her fans want to see. At that moment, Shinobu, Nin, and Rika peek in through the window with a selfie stick, having knocked earlier and grown worried. Seeing the scene, they completely misunderstood. When they confront Iko, she panics and blurts out that Arisu touched her and pinned her down, making it sound far worse than intended. Nin immediately ties Arisu up, but Iko stops her, thanks Arisu, and explains that he helped her laugh again. Arisu advises her to stop faking things and show her real emotions. The next day, Iko goes live 159 viewers. The stream initially feels no different, and her stiff explanation of the new avatar prompts viewers to complain and accuse her of clickbait as viewership drops. Panicking, she begs him to stay, but Arisu stops the stream, telling her that continuing will only make things worse. He harshly criticizes her, pushing her emotionally until she snaps and shouts that streaming means everything to her and that she is serious, even if she is afraid. Shinobu and Nin reveal that while the video stopped, the audio did not, meaning everything was broadcast live. Iko panics, then sees her viewership explode past 2,000. Arisu explains that audiences like VTubers who show real personalities rather than perfection. Iko returns to the stream smiling, delivers her catchphrase sincerely, and excites the chat. She ends early due to nerves, then later starts a private stream for Arisu, thanking him and admitting she knows he left the audio on deliberately. Arisu tells her real smile is cuter than any avatar, at which point her avatar freezes. It turns out she is hiding her face, bright red with embarrassment, because smiling in front of him is harder than smiling for her audience. Several days later, as vice president, Shinobu leads a meeting in the student council room. She explains that this year's sports festival will be larger and more demanding because the school is now co-ed. She emphasizes the increased workload, asks for cooperation, and distributes detailed notes. During the meeting, a student notices that Shinobu's photo is mistakenly attached to the documents, sending her into a panic when she realizes she inserted the wrong image. Others confirm the same mistake in their copies. Shinobu hurriedly begs them not to spread it and promises to fix everything quickly, while several boys seem pleased to have a photo of the school's beloved princess. Throughout the day, Shinobu is relied upon by students all over the school. She helps with homework, paperwork, and personal problems without refusing anyone, reinforcing her image as someone dependable. Later, she meets with the broadcasting club and explains their responsibilities for the sports festival, including announcements, live commentary, score reporting, and other tasks, nearly overwhelming herself as she lists them all. Rika suggests dividing the work properly, but when scripts are mentioned, past failures quickly come to mind. Shinobu volunteers to handle the scripts herself, then also volunteers for scoring. Before anyone notices, most responsibilities fall onto her alone. Nin points out that Shinobu is taking on too much pressure, but Shinobu insists she managed last year and can do so again. When Arisu suggests doing something special for the festival, the discussion devolves into impractical ideas, and Shinobu quietly takes responsibility for that as well. Later, when the group plans to go to karaoke, Shinobu declines due to her workload. Arisu stays behind, too. He approaches her privately, making her nervous, only to reveal he noticed her voice sounds strained and offers her a throat lozenge. He explains that sweets are forbidden in his household and asks her to keep this a secret. Shinobu realizes that, despite being surrounded by people all day, Arisu was the only one who noticed her condition, and she thanks him sincerely. Arisu questions why Shinobu never relies on others. She admits she wants to be seen as a trustworthy vice president and hopes to be praised for her efforts, though she avoids fully explaining her deeper fears. Arisu tells her she does not need to carry everything alone and reassures her that she does not need to be perfect around him. As he leaves, Shinobu stops him and asks him to stay with her while she works late at school. They move to the library to plan their work, Shinobu playfully tries to feed Arisu chocolate, knowing it breaks his family's rules, but he refuses. She explains that chocolate helps her cope with stress and that she secretly eats it often, despite the risk of punishment. Only Arisu knows this secret. As they work, Arisu confidently assures her that he can finish in hours what would take others all night. Encouraged, Shinobu finally opens up about her feelings. She compares herself to chocolate, made of many ingredients yet lacking a single defining identity. She feels that everyone around her is seriously pursuing their dreams, while she can only support them rather than chase her own. Arisu reminds her that she once wanted to become an anchor and points out that she is avoiding her own ambition. Shinobu explains that last year's sports festival went badly because of several mishaps, leading her to decide she must handle everything alone this year. She adds that this is her final year in the broadcasting club, as she plans to quit to focus on studying and preparing for university. Arisu reacts strongly, scolding her for giving up too easily. He insists she does not need to quit the club and can balance both academics and her dream. He promises to support her in her studies, voice training, and everything else she needs, reaffirming his vow never to abandon the broadcasting club members. He tells her she is just as talented as the others, but he hides his feelings instead of expressing them openly. Overwhelmed but comforted, Shinobu asks Arisu to keep their conversation private. In response, Arisu breaks a long-standing family rule by eating chocolate, giving her leverage over him and symbolically sealing their trust. Shinobu smiles, realizing he bent his rules for her sake. By the time preparations end, one question remains: what will the broadcasting club present? Shinobu proposes an unconventional idea, a cup and string microphone that allows students to speak anonymously. Though the others are initially confused, they quickly grow fond of the idea. On sports day, Arisu dominates the athletic events, winning races effortlessly and immediately switching to live commentary afterwards. His performance silences critics who thought he was merely boastful. During the scavenger hunt, Ikko and Rika draw slips requiring them to bring the person they trust most and the person whose voice they like most. Both immediately grab Arisu and drag him into the race. Determined not to lose, Arisu carries them toward the finish line, stunning the crowd, but they still fail to win. Arisu is devastated, having never lost before. For the cavalry battle, Arisu learns their teammates are injured. Shinobu suggests withdrawing, but Arisu refuses. He places Shinobu on his shoulders and declares the two of them sufficient. During the match, Nin confronts Arisu, but before anything develops, Shinobu's headband is snatched, instantly eliminating them. Arisu realizes too late and breaks down after suffering 2 losses in a single day. As the festival nears its end, the broadcasting club unveils its project, a cup and string microphone where students can anonymously share their feelings. Shinobu explains that hearing voices directly is what gives the project meaning. She also admits she avoided announcing it earlier because the school discourages romantic expression, and the teachers would likely have stopped it. Just then, a voice questions whether it truly cannot be stopped. Shinobu freezes because it turns out to be their supervising teacher, Limon Ando.